Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here. Now, as you know, I'm not really doing TBRs at the moment apart from my RuPaul's Drag Race TBRs, which if you haven't seen my series of RuPaul's Drag Race, it's basically I selected my favourite queens from the series that I had watched and then I gave them different prompts. I had a category is, I have lip syncs, I have challenges and I have judges, and they all have different prompts. And so I pull a queen out, and then once I've pulled the queen out, I then pull out a challenge, a category is and a judge for that queen. I read the books that fulfill the prompts for each one, and then if the total of the star rating that I give those adds up to a certain amount, she gets to Shantae You Stay. If not, she has to lip sync for her life, which I have another set of cards that I pull out a prompt for. If then adding that total to what I already had in my star rating takes it to a certain amount, then she can Shantae Stay, or she might have to sashay away. And that's how it works, really. So I've been doing those because I love it, because maximum that is a sort of 5 TBR TBR, and that seems to be enough. When I do readathons or big, well, readathons are okay, but when I do big TBRs for the month, it tends to be by like the second week I'm just not interested in those books anymore, and then so what I've told you is irrelevant. So I've been really enjoying those. So if you want to find out what I've been reading, that is what I've been reading. It's all down and documented in those RuPaul Drag Race videos. So that's more really of a wrap up, so to speak, but I'm doing it in a way of that's how I'm picking my books. Just thought I'd clear that up in case you thought, well, she never wraps up anything she reads. That's what I'm doing in there. So I am going to take place though in March, take part in Tis the Damn Readathon, which is a readathon that's being run by a number of lovely BookTube ladies and is a readathon based on Taylor Swift. Hold on, I think someone wants the limelight a little bit because he's scratching the floor. So say hello, Ron. Hello, Ron. And you can see he's getting a bit bigger and a bit scruffier. But I'm going to be taking part in this Taylor Swift readathon, even though I can't say that I listened to that much Taylor Swift. I love Taylor Swift, I think she's great, but I'm not a real music buff. I tend to be sort of listen to the radio in the car, and then if there's a song that I'm really enjoying, then I'll listen to it over and over for a while and then move on to another one. But yeah, I thought I'd take part in this because it looked good and I like all the BookTube ladies that are involved. So let's find out my TBR. Basically, they've taken all of Taylor Swift's albums and they have put prompts for different things to do with it. So I've picked the prompt that I want to do. I'm going to do one prompt from each of the albums, which gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's going to be 8 books that I try and read in March. So I picked from Reputation, I picked the prompt, look what you made me do, read a book that's recommended to you. I'm gonna have to put you down now, love. Okay. So for that one, this is not recommended directly to me, but me as a consumer of someone's BookTube videos, and that is American Queen by Simone. I've heard quite a few people say how good this one is, and it does really interest me. It's meant to be very steamy, it's a romance, it's about a president sending his best friend to woo this lady on his behalf, and I believe maybe there's going to be a bit of a tryst between all 3, or maybe there's going to be a love triangle, I don't know, but I've heard it's steamy. It's been recommended quite a few times on people's channels, so I've picked that one for that prompt. Okay, so for her album Lover, I've picked the prompt read a 5-star prediction, and this one was the one that really stood out for me. Excuse the card sticking out because it's also fulfilling a prompt for my next drag queen, but I'm picked Across the Green Grass Fields by Shauna Maguire. This is in the Wayward Children series of short sort of novellas from Shauna Maguire, and it is, I just love this series so much, and quite a few of the books so far have been 5-star reads, so I'm really hoping that this is as well. So the next one is for her album Red, and it is Read a Book with Red on the cover. I picked this one because I think the pop of red is really prominent here, and it's The Invitation by Kiki, Nikki Sloan. I hear this is the start maybe of a series or maybe a trilogy. It's again a romance, a bit of a steamy one. It's, from what I can gather, about two powerful families, and it's about this sort of initiation into becoming either part of the family, or I don't know whether it's kind of like a selection type of thing. It says filthy rich Americans on it, and it talks on the back about this board for Hale Banking and Holding, and one woman and 9 men disappear into a boardroom. So who knows what's going to happen, but I have heard this is really good. I think I heard about this one on the Ashley from the Bookish Realm, and I think she said she enjoyed it, so I think that's where I got that one from. So I'm looking forward to trying this because it's got red on the cover. Okay, so for her album 1989, it's the prompt I've picked is read a book with a number in the title. I had a few. I was surprised at how many actually I had on my shelf with numbers in, but I've gone for this one because it's a bit different to the others. It's not a romance, and it's one that's been on my shelf for quite a while. It's The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. It's been on my shelf, as I say, for ages. It's got 10,000 as my number in the title. It's a beautiful hardback, and I think it's about time that I knock it off my shelf. So this one is about a young girl. She's a ward of a man whose house is full of treasures and wonders, and she feels a little bit like an artifact herself, forgotten, I think. And then one day she discovers this book which sort of, I don't know if it's magical or whether it's got an enchanting story in it or whether it's telling of the past. I'm not sure, but it sounds interesting. I think it feels like it might be a bit magical realism, and it just breaks up some of the romance and the other books that I've got on my list, and it's about time that I read it, really. You wouldn't believe how much trouble I had with this one. For the album Our Song, I've picked the prompt read a book about music. I found one eventually, and that was Rhythm, Chord and Malakin by Mariana Zapata. I've got quite a few books by her on my shelf. I think I started this on audio a while, like a year or so ago, and then didn't really get stuck in. But it is about a young girl who's going on tour with her brother's band. I think she's going to be like the merch seller to help them out, but there is some sort of love connection with someone in the band. That's about all I know. For Exile, which is to read a book by 2 authors, I have decided to go for this one. It's Legendary Children, The First Decade of RuPaul's Drag Race and the Last Century of Queer Life by Tom Fitzgerald and Lorenzo Marquez. This documents queer culture and the last century, it says, of queer life, but through the lens of RuPaul's Drag Race. I think this cover is absolutely fantastic, and the back, look, is just, I love the illustrations for that. But you've got things in here like Sing Out Queen. Another chapter is called Watch Out for Those Sketchy Queens, Girl. Serving Snatch to Middle America. And the back says, Legendary Children is a definitive deep dive into queer history and culture with hit reality show RuPaul's Drag Race as a touchstone. The book centres the idea that Drag Race is the queerest show in the history of television and serves as a museum of LGBTQ cultural and social history, drawing on queer traditions and the work of legendary figures in queer history. Tom and Lorenzo show readers that they stand in the middle of LGBTQ history, and the need for legendary people to stand up, create art, start trouble and fight for change is as powerful now as it was when the first shot glass was thrown at Stonewall. So I think this is going to be really interesting, and yeah, just I love Drag Race, and I think it's really important to learn about queer history. For Evermore, that album, the prompt I picked was surprise yourself with your book. So pick it with your eyes closed, use a random number generator. I had a stack of books on my shelf for February, which was for the Black Author Readathon. I wanted to continue on reading the books that I didn't get to, and so I've decided that I would stack them up and point my finger and shut my eyes, and this is the one it landed on. It's If Only for the Summer by Alexandra Warren. This is about a woman who goes on a break, I believe like a summer break, with her best friend and her best friend's husband, and he invites along his best friend, and I'm sure there's going to be romance of some kind. I don't know if it's sort of a taboo romance or what, but yeah, it looks like it might be interesting. And then the final one is the Speak Now album, listen to an audiobook, and for that I'm not sure what I'm going to go for yet. I haven't decided, but I will let you know when I get to that. Now I feel like I'm missing something because I've got an extra book here. I have forgotten something. There is the album 15, read a book that's YA in genre, and for that I have picked The Life and Medieval Times of Kit Sweetly by Jamie Pacton. I think this is about a Renaissance fair. Oh no, it's a wench waitress at a cheesy medieval themed restaurant in Chicago, and our main character wants to be a knight at this place, and yet the company policy says that only men are allowed to be knights, and I think she disguises herself as a man in order to be a knight, and there might be a romance and stuff in here, but it just sounded really fun, and I love the idea of these serving wenches at these restaurants, so that does sound fun. So yeah, as I say, I think probably the audiobook that I listen to is going to be one of the books for the BookTube prize, because I need to get through those this month, so it'll probably be one of those, but I will pop down which one it is when I get there, and I will let you know how I get on at the end of the month. So let me know if you're participating in this readathon, and if you've read any of these books, let me know your thoughts on them, and I look forward to letting you know how I get on. And yeah, make sure you go and check out the RuPaul's Drag Race season 1 episodes that I've got. I think I've got 10 episodes up now, 10 drag queens that I've talked about, because that's where I'm talking about all the books that I've been reading. Anyway, that's it from me, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.